recorded as Dr. said, and we'll have time at the end for some non-recorded questions to be answered.
And if you can go
So
ahead and
tonight,
introduce yourself again, since it'll be all in the recording now.
oh, okay. So my name is Brittany, and I'm an incoming PGY1. Okay, so we have 3 different speakers tonight, and they all have 3 different perspectives on intern year. And so we're gonna, just allow them to introduce themselves and also share their perspective on intern year. So I guess I'll start with Priscilla.
Sure. So I am Priscilla August, and my perspective is that I am someone who has had experience with intern year, but had to actually leave their program. So that is the perspective I'm going to be able to bring to you guys today. I don't know who we want to go to next.
Ryan, do you want to?
Yes. So I'm Ryan. I am an attending and a recent resident graduate of June 2022. So I'll be providing the perspective as an attending.
Okay. And Sheila?
All right. My name is Shaun Owega. I bring the perspective of a mom and a wife, and also just finishing. Oh, I will be finishing my intern year. Hallelujah. In one piece.
Okay, thank you guys. So, we had a lot of questions about the time now, the transition into residency. And so we're going to answer those questions first. And then we also had a lot of questions coming about finances, but just to let you guys know, we're going to have like a full workshop dedicated to that. So we might not get to answer all the finance questions tonight. So the first question I'll throw out is, do you guys have any ideas on how to, finance the whole moving process without a physician's loan? And I'll direct that to Ryan first, if you have any.
Yeah, so I think everybody's financial situation is different. As you mentioned, getting a loan or taking out additional like student loans while you're already in school is an option. What I will say is, like, I remember when I first started to think about moving after match, my first thing was like go on all the websites and buy everything for the low low. So I went to like Let Go app. I went to Offer Up app. There's, Facebook Market. Like I got my kitchen table and 4 chairs for $50. And I put it to a storage unit, and then I got a rental truck. I wasn't moving very far. I was moving like 30 minutes away, so it wasn't that bad. But so that's one option, is making sure that you're getting things for the low. The other is like making sure you're speaking with your residency programs, and usually they're pretty upfront about whether they provide reimbursement or not. If they do not, the other aspects are really looking for sponsorship that might be from family, friends, also being resourceful with your schools, and asking like student affairs if there are any opportunities to support students for moving, and alumni, because a lot of times the alumni department is really getting private donations that they don't really offer up like what the donations are for, and so they can really help and reach out to alumni to sponsor you. The other is, depending again on your financial situation, is doing a credit card specifically for this purpose, not spending more than you know you're going to have in a few months once you get your paycheck. So if you know, like, okay, I'm going to be spending at least $1,000, and you have a credit card that says, okay, if you spend like $1,000 in the next 3 months, then you can get 60,000 points or something like that. It's like, okay, I already know I'm going to have to spend this $1,000. So let me just open a credit card. Not you have to spend $5,000 because that's not in your budget. So being very, purposeful about what your moving budget is, and determining what kind of credit card you might want to open, because you know that in a few months you'll be able to pay it off. And usually when you first open these credit cards, they give you a year without interest and all that stuff. So, and then you get the points of it. So that's another option. But it is very difficult.
Thank you for that. Shaun, do you have any ideas on that?
You're on mute.
There we go. So once again, this is from perspective of mom, wife, and also I moved from East Coast to Midwest, which is expensive. So I did not go to pods. I did not. Now everyone's budget is different, but I knew there was just no way I was going to be spending like a couple stacks. It just wasn't possible because there was a kid involved. So I knew like pods wouldn't be or like what are these things called, like moving companies, they can charge you almost like 10K. So like finding I will also drop my moving person. He did it for the low. Like she said, find people who do it for the low. I couldn't be nice. I had to give up my bougie ways by second year of medical school. I noticed I could not be bougie anymore. I went to Facebook Marketplace. I definitely got some stuff from there. Let go, like, and I use your parents if you can. Like, some of our moms are very gifted in the WhatsApp world, like my mother was, and the marketplace world. And I just use her expertise. Use people around you. If people are letting family members who are letting go of couches, who think they're gonna buy a new couch and don't want their couch no more, go ahead and take it. Intern or the next 3-4 years of your life is not the time to be bougie. I had to learn that. So relinquish that idea. I think that's the first step of entering intern year.
Thank you for that. So Priscilla, I'll start with you for the next question. When should we move?
I feel like it's program dependent, and what it is that you want to accomplish in that move. I definitely feel like you should have a week space. That's my feeling, a week space between when you've already settled and when your official orientation stuff start at minimum. Because you don't want that stress of getting your furniture. And some places some neighborhoods, for example, everyone has washer or dryer hookups. They don't actually, the apartment doesn't come with washer and dryer. So having to stress about getting that kind of stuff, pretty much getting all that stuff. I personally like being there at least 2 weeks ahead. That's me. Just because I just want to be comfortable and I want to be just established, just stress-free, breathe, then start.
Perfect. And Sharon?
I went 3 weeks in advance. Because like I had to get my kids set up, daycare. I had to go finding daycare. Whole nother thing. Whoever wants to talk to me about that, go ahead. We can have a good chat. Yeah, 3 to 4 weeks, I would say. 2 weeks, I think is even like cutting it short. Because if you're going to like, I moved from the East Coast, I didn't know no street corner. People in Chicago use words like 99th Street. I didn't know where 99th Street was. I was constantly getting lost. So knowing things like that, know where your closest grocery store is, figure out the lay of the land. I feel like that takes a little bit more time. And then in addition to all the licensing stuff, if you have to present like documents in person, that's a whole nother thing. So make sure there's like not a day that you have to set aside to go into your office. Maybe ask your program coordinator before you go, like, hey, do I have to come in to set certain things straight? Especially if you're an IMG, ECFMG certificates, stuff like that is very important. So 3 to 4 weeks is my thing.
Registering your car too, getting all that kind of stuff, DMV stuff. I mean, I was being nice when I said 1 week or 2 weeks. I personally was there at least 3 or 4 weeks ahead of time. But, and that's because I knew I didn't know the place at all. Exactly. So I'm totally with you on that.
Okay, thank you guys.
I'll also just add that I think this is also the time to get your dentist, your primary care doctor, your therapist, like getting all those things in order so that they're set. You don't have to worry about it. When you
just to slide onto what she just said, please, this is not the time to read a book. You already made it in my idea. Like, this is me talking. this is, like you said, find your therapist, find your PCP, find your who gonna do your hair, who gonna do your nails, because you're just gonna need them on ready to go. You can't be filing with that like 2 weeks into intern year, be like, oh my gosh, I don't have no one to do my hair. You're gonna be last on the list. And I knew that those type of things were very important to me, because I can't be looking.
So that actually kind of goes into my next question. Should we study before we start? And if the answer is yes, what resources do you guys think we should, be studying at this point?
I mean, I
And
know,
yeah.
go ahead.
You can go ahead, Priscilla, and then Shun can also give her perspective. I see she had
Yeah,
a head nod.
I know she was like, don't pick up a book. I hear you on that, but I feel like you're gonna be surprised by some of these programs and it depends, like know your strengths and your weaknesses. If you know that there is something that you really struggled with, or, and I'll say this for me, I know for me, my experience is probably very unique because I started intern year. I was that class that had that COVID hiccup where clinical skills exam was canceled for the first time. Most of our fourth year classes were in person. So we're not in person, we're virtual. Our rotations ended up a lot being virtual. So I didn't have, there was a lot that I didn't get to do. So I actually feel like if you've had a gap, because there are some people out there who like maybe you didn't match the first time or whatever the case may be, and maybe you've had a gap and you feel like you need to brush up on something. I personally feel like it would be helpful. I don't think you should go ham and be like stressed out and be like spending all your time, because I agree with her. You do need to be, this is gonna be the last one. Once you start residency, it's gonna be the last time you're gonna breathe for three years. So you do need to have some kind of vacation mentality going on. But I think like Online Med Ed has this intern boot camp book that is really good. That it tells you things like, and familiarize yourself. I wouldn't say memorize it, familiarize yourself with it so that you can start using it. It tells you things like what medications are most commonly needed when you're on a call in the middle of a night shift. It goes by different systems. It just has a lot of useful information. The other thing is a book that I'm actually currently reading. I don't see it anywhere around my desk. But it's basically, once I find it, I'll put it in the chat. It's a book on differential diagnosis. If differential diagnosis is something that you might want to work on, that book is like really good for just going through the for example, chest pain. And these are everything you need to think about for chest pain. Shortness of breath. This is everything you need to think about well, there's no such thing as everything, but it's pretty comprehensive. I'll look for it while someone else talks, and I'll see if I can find it. I'm gonna go off camera for a second while I look.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, Shayun?
Definitely get that book. I ended up getting that book like my second round through my inpatient month, because I'm a scattered mind person. So with that though, definitely for what was the question again? Studying. But I also, you have to know your program. I think what she said is very valid. Know your program, know yourself. Did you spend about how many months outside of school? Like, did you have like a little bit of a gap? Did you graduate in December? Did you graduate the year before? Were you doing something clinically involved when you were away? If you were, take a breath and leave. I spent my time being a mommy and concentrating on other things. And then I used my orientation month, which was my July month, to actually do things like review some things. Even then I was barely reviewing. I kind of just was like, okay, I'm about to just jump into this. And my first month was on inpatient. So once again, know your program. Know if you went through the interviews, you must have met some attendings. You will know, okay, is this, and ask those people that you're going to go there with, right? So like there's other residents who've been through it, ask them. when I was the first of my class, so I didn't really have that, but our attendings were very gracious. So I knew like that might not be a big issue for me. But like with my interns coming, oh, I have interns, that's sweet swears. With my interns coming in now, you know, I'm telling my little, don't pick up a book, enjoy your time away, because they're not going to be like that. So knowing the lay of the land is very, very important, knowing who you're going to, and then making sure that, you know, you feel ready and you feel confident and going into this, because granted, throughout the entire year, you will question yourself, but you have to know, like, you're in this place for a right reason, and that's why you're there. So whether you know the answer not today, you will know it tomorrow, and you will never forget because you didn't know it the first time.
Perfect, thank you. So our next question is there anything you wish you knew starting out? Like in retrospect. You can go ahead, Sharon. I think Priscilla is still busy. I don't know if Ryan has anything she wants to add as well.
I think this is a topic we all kind of don't talk about. Like, there are gonna be some days where this is a you know, majority Black forum. Like, there are gonna be some days where you're gonna face microaggression. The microaggression is not gonna come only from those who don't look like you. And I think that was like the biggest thing for me, like facing microaggression within the hospital. I was like, whoa, we look like each other. Why are you talking to me like this? So knowing that there's gonna be days where
the pants.
What'd you say?
Sorry, someone just had themselves off mute. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. But yeah, knowing that you're gonna have those days, you're gonna have the days where you don't feel good, but you're gonna have to push through it. You're gonna have bad days, and learning to face that with like, okay, I had a bad day, and kind of like get yourself back in the saddle is a very hard thing. But having a support system is around you, making sure that that's good. But I think for me, definitely knowing that not every day was gonna be great, because I came into intern year with this idea of, oh my gosh, I'm a doctor. I need to know the world is still real. So yeah.
And just so you guys know, we've like dedicated 15 minutes at unrecorded time at the end of this session, so we can go through all the stuff that she's talking about. So just